Good evening. So, as always, I hope everything is going peachy, you know, satisfactory in your life. I hope everything is all right. Um, this is going to be a very interesting talk that we're going to have. Uh, this is more or less about what's going to happen going forward now that some of the things that we spoke about earlier this year have taken place. Uh, I want to say Monday, I'm going out. We're not going out Monday, I get paid. And I'm gonna do a little searching around the internet for some streaming capability so I can get my screen share back on. Uh, because there's a lot of stuff I want to show you that I just can't show you right now. I can only give you the links, and that's half-assed, but it's still better than nothing. Um, but right now, I'm looking at an article, and I've been seeing it for the past few days. The U.S. Trump might tariff, pretty much the EU, right? And now he has, and so now Scotch whiskey, French wine, and Parmesan cheese, and obviously, things that are European goods are about to get hit now. So the same stuff that was coming, through China that got hit up, things that people didn't see a great influx of price, all that stuff is about to go up. Just look for it. Um, it's coming, and really what I wanted to talk about going forward was just how travel is going to work. Uh, I think it's very interesting that TSA has taken it upon themselves a whole year. I mean, think about this for a moment. Whole year. They could have waited till next year to say something. They said something this year before even if it even takes effect that the Real ID Act of 2020 is going to pop off. When it does, I can't stress the devastating effects it's going to have on just regular people. Um, I mean, right now, it doesn't seem like it's a massive big deal. I'm pretty sure, you know, uh, getting a passport for everybody is not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Uh, everybody's not a felon, or everybody's not somebody who's here on a visa where technically they could revoke your visa status or whatever. So it's like situations are different and some are more delicate than others. But I still have to say that going forward, it's about to get real dicey. Been watching a lot of the stuff about this college admission things unfold. People thought it was just going to last a couple of days and they were going to stop talking about it. No, it's an ongoing topic. I don't watch TV. You know, I watch a little bit of stuff on the internet and I read some articles and I read on my own. Uh, So I don't really have a great television programming influx in my life, whether that matters or not. Um, but I will say this that because I don't see the same information that people see, and I don't see it the way that they're seeing it. So I might see, like, for example, people heard about Amber Geiger shooting dude, but if you had cable, they might have really hammered it, like really hard. Like the only time I heard about it was pretty much when I looked it up, or like when I was on like a certain website but even then, I don't have to entertain it. So TV will force you to entertain things that you wouldn't normally entertain, and just getting back to what's going to happen, going forward in the future, you know, uh, we really have to be circumspect about how this whole situation with the borders playing out. I, I know it seems like there's not a lot going on down there right now. They've been deporting people left and right, and ICE has been having all kinds of situations jump off on them, and it's been problematic. And believe that it's not going to get any better. Um, One of the biggest problems that ICE is having right now, you know, uh, customs or border border and customs patrol. Those people, they're having the same issue, because they're all kind of the same, but they just do different things. Um, When the effect that you actually have the ability to carry a gun and shoot and kill somebody, and they'll justify that action through the means that you were doing your job, then you're not that different from anybody else who can do that. It's just that you may service a different function. You see what I mean? And because I don't split hairs between one person with a gun and the other, I'm able to do that. Now, going forward, we have to look at the situation really, once again, with two eyes open. Uh, you have a situation where I don't worry about the political stuff. I only tell you about it so that way you're aware of it, but that's not for you to worry about. You know, don't worry about Birdman acting up, you know, President Trump or whatever, whoever they like to call them that, because they call them all kinds of names. You know, I call them all kinds of things. But however, the border is going to become the major point, and that's why they're trying to get them up out of there. That's the whole point of the impeachment thing. It's because of the wall. But they think if they get Trump to out of there, they think that the wall is going to stop. But I don't think anybody understands. Mike Pence is one of the strongest supporters for the wall, secretly, silently. And if you really look up stuff about it, it's crazy. So you really can't justify hating the man for trying to do something that makes sense. You can only justify hating the man because you just hate him. You understand what I'm talking about? I don't want a person trying to make sense of something that might not make sense. Uh, there's a bunch of racist people, but out of all of them who are racist, only some of them have actually been able to really affect my life. You see what I'm saying? So I don't go around here taking out what I have in me on every single white person or every single non-black person or a black person who I think is acting some type of way. I don't go around there I'm telling you guys this so that way you understand that even when you hear me and you see me doing stuff, I project a certain type of energy in real life so that way things go a certain way. They have to go a certain way. They have to go your way. Okay. This year coming up is going to be crucial. It's going to be epic. You've got, outside of the ID Act stuff coming, all these tariffs. Mind you, forget the fact that Trump has the tariffs with China, right? You guys have to really look at the broader situation. So you have Russia way in the back, who you could argue with France pulling some massive strings to kind of make things go a certain way, because the Russians don't have the muscle that it takes to just beat America down. But if you get the forces spread thin enough, I mean, I don't want to say it, but it's almost like they're tired of America running the whole world. You know, like, does anybody else get that? You get that feeling? You know, like everybody else in the whole world thinks that they can govern themselves the way that they think they need to be governed. And there's other countries, though they may have more power than another one, they're still willing to respect the sovereignty of another nation. I need people to realize this. If China wanted to, it could have full-blown military attacked Taiwan already and ended whatever is going on there. There's something on Taiwan. Something there. I think it's the real bloodline of the real Chinese people who are the real aboriginals of the land. I can't verify that, but there's something within me that tells me that. Outside of that, though, you got this Russian guy and this French guy pulling the strings massively. And, you know, this is why Brexit is such a big deal. I don't really talk about that very much. Because if the French are a party who normally people talk a lot of shit about them, but they have a lot of power. They got a lot of resources because their colonial grasp is still there. You understand what I'm talking about? So, and you're talking about the nation where, you know, Roman Catholicism was truly implemented and has one of its strongest holds. We'll get into that. But just to speak on it and to say it means that these are people who obviously been in, like, It's not a surprise that what's happening is what I'm trying to say to you guys. There's a reason why the same gene stock of people, okay, thousands of years ago, who did what they done to overthrow the Romans and the Greeks and all these other different groups of Aboriginal people, and then become imposters in so many ways, rewrite the history, change everything as it is. And this is why you have dissension within the land to this day. Because you have people who are not Aboriginal. Check this out. This is going to mess you up. You have people who are technically from the conqueror seed who don't like the fact that the real truth is not told. And it's not because they want it to be like, oh, we're brazen conquerors. No, they want it to be known so that way people know what actually happened, because they're not that dishonest. Hard to believe that, I know, but this is what you deal with every day. Let me give you guys a little piece of real life. Went to court today. I literally walk into the courtroom, sign my name on the board, because you guys know I have to check into this mental health place, right? The mental health court there. Today is October 3. I sit down, I listen to the spiel of some guy who supposedly, now he's the veteran, supposedly forced himself onto this woman. I think there was some consensual action, and I just think he may have taken it too far. I don't know. I wasn't there. But he's getting help that he says that he needed, because he was going to drink himself to death if that probably hadn't happened. So this is a blessing in disguise for this guy. However, the situation just sounded really suspect and fishy. Moving forward, I was called immediately after this. Mind you guys, I've asked for many things from my lawyers. Not one thing have I ever asked for from any of these lawyers has ever been done. Do you know that today that my lawyer had the audacity to say, if they don't have a person who can do the competency evaluation by December 11th, right? That they would consider, dismissing this. Now I'm gonna tell you guys why this is so important. If they dismiss this, that means that the actual initial charge of the false statement, right on, and the possession of the weapon goes away too. You guys understand that, right? Okay, boom. Then there's just the ERPO. I have court for that on the 5th of November. They're going to try to stretch it out and say it's all based on the competency evaluation. Blase, blase, blase. The competence. So they're going to push it. They're going to push it maybe a week until after that happens, because that's December 11th. And I forget when the last day of court is, but I'll have to see. It'd have to be I'd have to either come early in the morning on a Monday or that Tuesday before they stop. But either way, follow me. I see what they're trying to do already. Now you guys have to realize, I told you what was going to happen. Okay, this is going forward into the future also, so that way you can see how my mind processes information. I understand what's coming because I've dealt with this before. They don't know what I've dealt with. They don't even understand the kind of duress that people are trying to place me under. It's okay. The lady that is trying to terminate our tenancy where I stay here right now where I stay, they're trying to terminate the tenancy. Okay. Don't worry about that. It's nothing. That's just that. Please don't even worry about that. This is what it is. This is the battle. Okay. And a year from now, you know what I'm going to be able to do though? After I have accrued the funds for a private investigator, I'm going to be able to press the line on these people the way they press the line on me. Had to share that with everybody. That's important that I share that. I'm about to win. I see a victory coming real soon. And I've had to ride it all the way out. Anyway, people can't understand that. It's fine. I'm not looking for them to understand that. Now, we're going to go back to out of my local world and get back to the global talk of things. And in the global speak, I'm going to read something to you out of this. U.S. will tariff Scotch and all this other stuff, right? This is a particular line that caught me way off guard. And the actual title is U.S. tariffs will make Scotch whiskey, French wine more expensive for Americans. And this is about 9 hours ago, 10 hours ago. Trump administration said it would impose $7.5 billion worth of tariffs. Tariffs on $7.5 billion worth of European goods. I want y'all to understand this. This dude is burning down every bridge he can and fast. Why, I don't know. Is he trying to make America an isolationist nation again? Like, does he think that they won't invade him if they're all broke and too broke to come there? It's like I don't know. I don't know what is going through their minds right now. But it seems like they're trying to bankrupt the world. I'm telling you guys, in my opinion, trying to set the whole world back 30, 40 years. So that way the Chinese can't take over. Well, it's not even about the Chinese taking over. It's about the Chinese getting enough equity to team with the Russians one time before both of those parties turn on one another, but just long enough so that way they can smash the US up some, and Britain and all the other de facto places that they would have to go through and run the iron brush on. I always laugh at folks because nobody really understands how this stuff goes. But I haven't been really too far off about a lot of things. Don't worry. They're going to shut down the border pretty soon, too, when shit gets out of hand there. Why do you think they worked so hard to keep it from being the way it was? Because it was horrible. It was terrible. They was like, man, we're not going to be able to keep this up. You don't think any of the crime that's going on, you think all that crime that's going on right now in Texas is all just young black dudes? That's what they show you. But you'd be out your mind to think that some of that shit's not Consuelo and Guadalupe and Jose. You're tripping. It's getting so serious to where they want to do DNA tests, doing DNA collections on the migrants who are coming in. Now they had a picture of African people on the article, but it was talking about people who come from south of the border. Right. Why would they want to do that? Because if you come up here and commit a crime, we can just run whatever kind of residual DNA is left at the crime scene through the database. And if we already got you in our database, we can just come pick your bitch ass up based on where we think you're located. Or we can put the APB out on you. Just like that. Bang. Yeah, don't worry. Ain't happened to them yet, so they're not worried about it. You guys do know how I feel about people who aren't worried, right? I'm not worried. I'd rather they do what they think that is best for them because they think that they know something. They know shit. I'm trying to teach them something. I'm trying to learn them something. Hi, sister. I really am serious right now. It's about to go down. I know me and Andre talk all the time, and we say it might not even get out of this year. Who knows? It looks like they're going to try to do their best to squeak the way out of this year without getting into a serious conflict. But you can never know how a person feels. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't change. You can't change what is, sister. Is what I'm pretty much trying to say. Like, Trump has made his bed. He has to sleep in it. You want to say shit like, "Oh, where's my favorite dictator?" The world doesn't have to act like they didn't hear that. You want to get on TV and talk about a dude is not fit to carry another man's jock strap, is you know what strap, right? I won't say it on TV, but you already said bullshit on TV. Might as well say jock strap. Go all the way in. and show them how you really just don't have no control over what you say because you don't give a damn. So that's why what I mean by no control, you don't care. And Guy really showed his natural ass this week. I mean, like I don't even think people even understand. I think he went harder this week than he's ever gone. I mean, I'm putting everything he said versus anything that you can go find that Trump has said. He went hard this week. I'm trying to tell you, dude is loose cannon. Cousins a loose cannon out there. He is Jed Clampett in the fucking White House with a suit on and shit, man. They don't understand. They're gonna lose one day. I don't feel bad for them. I just look at my situation and just say, it's sad that my situation perils the president. Minus the whole chicks trying to accuse me of crazy shit. But I pretty much got like all these different entities coming at me. I can understand. This is why, like, I can understand the atmosphere of what's happening. I check on the. This is something that I didn't know. I seen my man Lloyd today. He works out there in Seattle. And I seen my cousin, and my cousin was like, "Yeah, man." He said it seemed like somebody getting killed every weekend in Pioneer Square. Now this stuff doesn't make it to the news, obviously, but it's going down. It was never like this, y'all, when I worked there. Going forward into the future, that place, they're gonna be looking to totally revamp it. They're gonna try to wipe that whole slate clean. They messed up. They messed up big time. I'll never work down there. I'm done there. Moving on, trying to get my stuff really established and get myself all the way up like I need to get. And that's what this next year is about. Is going forward. It's like I'm telling y'all what to look for, man. Is they're about to start doing the stuff that I've been talking about. The student loan shit is about to get real. It's about to get real for people. Don't think it's not. Okay. Why do you think they're making it hard to travel? What would be the purpose of that? Because they understand that something that they're about to do is going to make people want to leave. Right. Just the state that they're in is good enough. So the government figures if a person can't leave the state that they're in, right, by air means, that is, they have to drive. That means that all we have to do is really watch the interstates. I mean, it makes it a lot more simple unless you're willing to travel on foot and do things like that. Then it's a little different, and they probably have a contingency for that as well. Slightly more lethal because the characters you're going to run into are going to be a lot more willing to do what it takes to get where they got to get to. Don't worry, hasn't gotten there yet. Hasn't gotten there yet. Sister, I told people I hadn't gotten there with the damn trade war with China and the prices going up, and the prices are steadily racking up on all kinds of things. It hasn't gotten there yet, sister. When it does, the flex that's coming to all these people who owe whatever kind of money, we're going to see what they say. I'm going to see what they say. They're like, I can't stand this guy. He drinks liquor. He smokes. He's not an example for the babies. I'm like, put the babies up when I'm talking. I always tell people this. I don't even know why. This is I even have to say that. I'm super grown folk material. I'm not trying to do. I'm in my zone. Telling what it is that has to be told. Let me pull up this article that I read earlier, and I'm gonna share something with you guys as I go look for this article. I had read another article. Lady climbs into a freaking lion, exhibition, right? In the zoo. dances and shit, right? Like this, she has a little good time or whatever. And if you really watch the video, they said that the lion looked like it was going to approach her. The lion looked like it didn't know what to do, you know, and it's just crazy. One second. Gang, gang, gang. This is where, see, this is so funny. They try to keep this stuff hidden. This is crazy. I want you to hear this right here, sister. Wealthy tech, right? Kidnapped, killed. A wealthy tech executive has been found dead after he was kidnapped from his Northern California home, authorities said. Right? Tashur Atre, 50, was taken from his Santa Cruz home around 3 a.m. Tuesday and put into his own 2008 BMW SUV, according to the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office. Atre's body and cow were found later on Tuesday in Los Gatos, the sheriff's office said. His death was ruled a homicide, but authorities have not released how he died. The body was found near the vehicle, which was located in Santa Cruz Mountains. This shit is crazy. Robbery is believed to be the motive, according to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office said it appears to be an isolated incident. I'm gonna expound on that in a moment. Atre was a millionaire tech executive, CEO, founder of AtreNet. Billionaire executive Chris Klein dies in helicopter crash in Bahamas. AtreNet creates and maintains websites from Silicon Valley tech companies and has clients including Hewlett Packard and Deloitte Consulting. SF Gate described Atre's house as a multi-million-dollar home. Listen, let me ask you something. Because I can't prove it, right? And I'm not hard on like every single person that's like from California, but it's like or who lives there. But it's like you ever wonder why it's cats like him that happens to? Because I read it earlier and I was like, man, that doesn't sound right. You know, you kidnapped him in his own SUV. It's like, how did you get in his house? You know, this dude's a tech dude. You think he don't have all the tech shit in his house? Think about that for just half a second, right? And then when you think about, okay, this guy obviously, if he didn't, he's slipping. I doubt it though. So somebody has the mechanisms to mitigate all that. Coming to your house, who knows what this guy knows, right? Who knows what kind of military contracts he done worked on? All types of stuff. Billionaire coal guy, I can explain that more to being like the stuff that's going on with the coal industry and not really get too carried away. But this guy right here doesn't smell right. When I read it, I was like, man, touch me as something awkward. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I'm not wishing death on none of these dudes out here who have created these little internet fads and none of that, right? Half these guys are addicted to opiates anyway, so they're gonna probably, overdose themselves to death. But uh, the ones who either have control over their addiction or what's the word I'm looking for? Just don't dabble in the first place. I still wouldn't put it past the U.S. government to want to reach out and touch a lot of these guys because you talk about cutting down somebody's ability to travel. One of the other things you want to do is knock off their ability to communicate. And I see and this is why Facebook is under attack. Uh, what would somebody do if the sheriffs did come to their house? If they were a Facebooker, they're going to Facebook Live that stuff, right? Whatever people do, that's going to be their medium to sharing what's happening with them real time. See, the government is trying to put a clamp on all this stuff because they're like, yo, what we're about to try to pull off has never been pulled off before. Trump's not afraid. I'm pretty sure this dude could win, and then there could be another Republican. That's what people don't want to hear. That's what's, it doesn't matter to me. I'm like, it's just another person. But the way that they're shaping the environment is, it's going down. Listen, they're at war with gay people. They got a Supreme Court case right now, right? That is going to determine whether or not you can be fired for being gay. It's going to be one of the first. I can't think of the state right now. Let me go try to find the article real quick. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. Like, there we go. Bam, it's right here in front of my face. Thank you. I ain't got to look for nothing. It's an hour ago. Supreme Court term to begin with blockbuster question. Is it legal to fire for someone for being gay or transgender? Amy Stevens never saw her colleagues at work will react to her gender transition. Right on. The owner of a funeral home where she worked fired her first. Gerald Bolstock claims everything was fine in his job as a social worker in Georgia until he joined a gay softball club. Then came the pink slip. For skydiving instructor Donald Zarda, the termination came after the routine way he joked with the woman when the two had been strapped together shoulder to shoulder and hip to hip tandem, something along the lines of "Don't worry, I'm gay." the three present the Supreme Court with a blockbuster question at the start of this new term: is it legal to fire someone for being gay or transgender? The case will be argued Tuesday. Stop right there. Red Flagistan. Is it going to be legal to red flag people pretty soon, y'all? I mean, if somebody gets killed, well, they got the red flag on them. But we're going to keep reading this article. But I wanted to put that on your mind. What happens when the first casualty comes in Red Flagistan that they don't think it's going to happen? They pray to God it's not somebody who's on an ERPO, right? And then they try the best for them they could spin it is that this person was a danger to society and it was unfortunate that this happened, but maybe they could have acted out the same thing. And it's like, it's sickening to think that they would even try to say some shit like that, as opposed to this person is a victim, and because of our poor ability to actually regulate policy and law. But policy doesn't matter because policy don't mean shit. The laws are what the policies are based on. So anyway, the law, it cost everybody everything. Anyway, y'all, man, it's crazy. Frontlining and people don't even know it. Let me keep this article going, though. This is one of the most consequential issues of the term. With more than 70 friend of the court's briefs dividing states, religious borders, and members of Congress, more than 200 of the nation's largest employers are supporting the workers. To some, it might seem surprising that this is an unsettled question. Cultural acceptance of the LGBT community is at a high. Transgender actors were spotlighted at the recent Emmy Awards, and the Orange is the New Black star Laverne Cox hit the red carpet accompanied by a transgender civil liberties union lawyer, by a transgender American civil liberties union lawyer. The gay rights movement has won victory. Get behind me, devil. Just get underneath my feet. This is the wickedness. The gay rights movement has won victory after victory at the Supreme Court, capped by the landmark 2015 decision that established a constitutional right to same-sex marriage. But gay rights leaders say married on Sunday, fired on Monday is a possibility in more than half the United States. Where there is no specific protection for gay or transgender workers, the states that prohibit discrimination are not uniform. Some protect only gender identity or transgender status, and some differentiate between public and private employment. That's why they're talking about the guy who worked for the state or the city or whatever, and then people who were just workers. The issue for the court is to reach the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. See this right here, 1964. This is crazy that they piggyback off of black people so viciously, and they don't nobody want to call these bastards out. And then yet they want to say that black people are so anti. If black people were so anti-homosexual, anti-faggots, why aren't they out there signing this? Okay, then. For 50 years, let me read the first part. The issue for the court is to reach the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which, besides protecting against workplace discrimination because of race, also prohibits discrimination because of sex. This is in quotations. Because of sex. Wow. So now they're trying to spin on what the sex mean. It could mean the transgender shit. It could mean the sex that you have with another person of the same gender. This is crazy. For 50 years, courts read that to mean that women cannot be treated worse than men, and vice versa. Not that discrimination on the basis of sex included LGBT individuals. Right, right. They're saying that chicks are not supposed to be treated worse than dudes. Sex meant that's what it means. There's sex is man and woman, not male or female. Male and female are animals. Can you dig it? It's a male goat and a female goat, not a man goat and a woman goat. Can you dig that? Anyway, let me go ahead and keep reading because I don't want to spill all my diamonds out in one little spot about female and male, man and woman. The ordinary meaning of sex is biologically male or female. That's not even true though. It does not include sexual orientation. It's not true. If you're going to say that sex is male or female, men are. Listen, to say male or female is to indicate that there are people who are subhumans amongst you who are only classified as a male or female. And then they make us classify as male or females because they're subhuman, because I'm a man. Nigga. Anyway, let me keep reading. The ordinary meaning of sex is biologically male or female. It does not include sexual orientation. Solicitor General Noel J. Francisco said in a brief to the court in the Bostock and Zardes case, which have been combined, employers violate the Title VII by only treating members of one sex worse than similarly situated members of the other sex. Discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation standing alone does not satisfy that standard, he wrote. I love it. He's like, look, if you treat a chick worse than you treat a dude, or a dude worse than you treat the chick, then you got a problem. But for this person who chooses to be a homosexual and this person who chooses to change their genitalia, what? That's on them. That's the choice. It's called the alternative lifestyle. Alternative being that they chose that. Ain't nobody forced that on them. Talking about there's always been a woman in my body or a man in my body. Fuck out of here. Anyway, we're gonna read the rest of this article because this is too juicy. Treating a man who is attracted to men differently than a woman who is attracted to men is discrimination, the EEOC reasoned. What? What? Did y'all hear that? Did you hear the blasphemy? Once again, devil, get underneath my feet and away from me. Treating a man who was attracted to men differently than a woman who was attracted to men is discrimination. The EEOC reason. Did you hear that? They said, look, if you guys are trying to extinct the whole world population, no problem. The commission also looked at a 1989 Supreme Court case decision that said federal law protected against discrimination based on stereotypes. The court found for a woman who had not been promoted because her employers found her too aggressive and her manner of dress not feminine enough. Right. She was a fucking lesbian. Right? And these guys are trying to piggyback the chick. You feel me? She's probably a dyke, I'm sure. They're like, how could you? How could you? How could you use that word? I don't care. I do not care. YouTube can take this shit down for all I give a fuck. Okay? Fuck YouTube. And fuck anybody in their feelings. Excuse my language. I just don't care. Let me keep reading. Some courts have come around to those arguments. Oh, wow. The full U.S. article, the full U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit ruled for Zarda and said its contrary past decisions on the issue were wrong. Wow. Chief Judge Robert A. Katzman wrote, sexual orientation discrimination is motivated at least in part by sex and thus is a subset of sex discrimination. Wow. Zandra died, listen, in 2014, and his case is being advanced by his sister and partner. You hear this stuff? Dude probably died of AIDS or something like that. You know what I mean? And fucking now his demon ass sister, this the devil. Anyway, let's go ahead. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit came to a similar conclusion to Stevens' panel. To Stevens' case. The panel found it analytically impossible to fire an employee based on that the employee's status as a transgender person without being motivated, at least in part, by the employee's sex. That doesn't even make sense. How? You're a woman or a dude who thinks you're a chick, or a woman who thinks you're a dude, and I'm like, you're bringing down the morale of the work environment, you're out of here. Right on? Dude, if these aren't the times of Noah, I don't know what they are. Bostock ran a program for about a decade that recruited volunteers. No, whoa. But in Bostock's case, the U.S. Court of Appeals, the 11th Circuit, went the other way, ruling for Clayton County, a suburb of South Atlanta, that Title VII did not protect on the basis of sexual orientation. Bostock ran a program for about a decade that recruited volunteers to serve as advocates for abused and neglected children. We achieved great success, statewide recognition, Bostock said in an interview. But everything changed when I joined the gay recreational softball league, he said. He was recruiting volunteers, and he recruited from the league too. Let me stop right there. You guys don't even know this. I recorded a thing a long time ago. I never released it. I don't think I did on the Love Is Not a Game, and I just didn't because I was like, they might just snatch this shit right down, and they might not even make it. It was like the Boy Scouts is having a scandal that's bigger than the Catholic Church. Word. And it's like when I hear these little dudes like him talking, I'm like, he's the type of dude to put little boys in Boy Scouts and be touching on them and fucking on them and weirdo shit. Faggot ass dude. Anyway, man. On Monday in 2013, Bostock found himself denied access to his office. He was told he was being fired. Damn right. The county says Bostock was terminated after an audit of the program, not because he is gay. Bostock's suit was dismissed at an early stage because the lower courts ruled that Title VII did not cover sexual orientation. There was little dispute about the facts in Stevens' case. Stevens wrote an emotional letter to coworkers that she suffered from gender dysphoria, a mismatch between the sex assigned at birth and a person's gender identity. Wow. And said that years after therapy, she had decided to transition. Before surgical procedures, doctors said she should live for a year as a woman. This is a guy. At the end of my vacation, August 26, 2013, I will return to work as my true self in appropriate business attire, Stevens wrote. The funeral home's owner, Thomas Ross, said that he thought about it, but Stevens had to go. He was no longer going to represent himself as a man. He wanted to dress as a woman, Ross said in a deposition case. In the brief to the court, Ross' lawyers elaborated. He weighed the impact of the decision on Steffens and Steffens' wife. He also thought about the female employees and clients that would be sharing a single-sex restroom with Stevens. Finally, he considered the impact on his client's grieving process. In the end, Tom could not agree to Steffens' plan to violate the dress code, so he offers Steffens a severance. Listen, he offered this dude a severance, and even if it probably wasn't much, at least he offered him something. Look, little gay dude, people are crying and shit and mourning and shit, and you want to come in here dressed as a woman, dog? No, man. Excuse me. It's just crazy. But this is listen, this is going to be a battle. This is not going to be over overnight. This is going to be a battle going into the next year. Look for it. Harris Funeral Home is represented by the conservative legal group Alliance Defending Freedom, which says Title VII was not violated. The funeral home would have fired a female employee who insisted as dressing as a man while working with grieving families because it does not disfavor one sex compared to the other. Harris does not discriminate based on sex. Right. It's a dress code policy. He violated the dress code. How hard is that? In previous rulings on gay rights, such as striking down a federal law that recognized only marriages between a man and a woman, and state statutes that outlawed homosexual conduct, the Supreme Court relied on the Constitution. These three cases concern the text of Title VII. That's what I told y'all. They're trying to spin this shit. No one argues that Congress in 1964 intended to. Whoa! No one argues that Congress in 1964 intended to protect LGBT individuals. Homosexual conduct was illegal in the vast majority of the country. No shit. The Solicitor General said that the basic fact should decide the cases. Right. So they're trying to say, look, dude, why are you trying to piggyback? It's not meant for you. Why are you trying to use it now? Right? These niggas are mentally ill, dog. You see why it was a mental illness at first? Because you see how they're trying to man, these niggas are ill. Anyway, in 1964, the ordinary public meaning of sex was biological sex. Congress is free to make clear that Title VII includes sexual orientation and transgender status, Francisco said, but it has repeatedly turned down attempts to change the law to do so. Right, because that doesn't make sense. The plaintiffs and the lawyer, you're not born a transgender at birth, nigga. The fuck are you talking about? You're not born. Anyway, man, this shit is crazy. The plaintiffs and the lawyers said that the state said the statute's text, not the Congress intended, should hold. This is something of a switch. Usually it is conservatives making a textualist argument, and the lawyers point to the unlikely ally, the late Justice Antonin Scalia. In 1998 ruling in the case called Onkel versus Sundower Offshore Services, Scalia wrote for the court that male-on-male sexual harassment was covered by Title VII, even though it is not mentioned in the statute or advised by Congress. That male-on-male sexual harassment was covered by Title VII, even though it is not mentioned in the statute or envisioned by Congress. He's saying that, look, a dude trying to harass a dude, because it's a gay dude trying to harass another guy, right? He's saying that was covered by Title VII. It's crazy. It is ultimately the provisions of our law rather than the principles of our legislators by which we are governed, Scalia wrote, adding that same-sex harassment need not be the principal evil Congress was concerned with. What? Wow. He's like, look, pimp, it doesn't even matter. Because you're a dude and he's a dude, so it doesn't matter. And he's saying that it doesn't break that. It's covered by this, actually. That's wicked. We're the ones pointing to the words of the statute. This is crazy. This shit is fucking crazy. But besides Scalia, the court will be without former Justice Anthony M. Kennedy, who had written the majority in opinion in each of the gay rights movement victories at the court. Justice Brett M. Kavanaugh, who did not rule on major gay rights issues as a lower court judge, is thought to be more conservative than his former boss Kennedy. During a discussion of the case at Georgetown University Law Center, Supreme Court practitioner Roman Martinez said that interpreting the text of the issue has scrambled usual alignments in the lower case. has scrambled usual alignments in the lower courts, with the leading liberal judge saying that the statute does not cover sexual orientation and a leading conservative judge going the other way on transgender status. Mm. It is possible the Supreme Court would rule differently on the two issues. Some observers think prohibition on transgender status discrimination is closer to the statute's wording because of sex. Please. Nicole Saharsky, another lawyer who frequently argues before the court, thought that was more of a theoretical possibility than a real one. That's right, because you're not born whatever fucking race, whatever gender you think you are in your brain, you retarded person. You're born the other one. And people who were born hermaphrodites, right on, once again, that's a genetic mutation that I don't know where that comes from. Nicole Saharsky, another lawyer who frequently argues before the court, thought it was more of a theoretical possibility than a real one. The Supreme Court's going to say that there's not a prohibition on discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, but there is a basis of transgender, but there is one on the basis of transgender status? She asked. That just doesn't seem like something they would do. Listen, listen. A transgender person is a homosexual. Okay? If a dude turns into a chick, keeps his genitalia, and is still sleeping with women, this dude's a wicked demon. That's what he is. He's not, that's not even, like, once again, I have a hard time thinking that a person like that even rates even being like in society. They just should just take him outside the city and hit him with big rocks and leave him there without. However, this is what's about to come. This is what's coming, sister. I mean, like, people don't even know, like, there's so many different little articles I could go through. It just takes so much time to read. That's why I didn't read. That's why I didn't really read the one that I wanted to read, which is about the tech CEO, because they murked him out. I read a little bit of it, but I didn't really like break it all the way down. Like, look, man, you're in your own car. You got how they get into your house in the first place? You're a tech CEO, unless you're super duper slipping at 3 a.m. Right? So a chick had to set you up. If that's the only thing I'm thinking. Chick set you up. You know, either something that he's been dealing with consistently for a long time, or a little thing who this is what she does out there. I set dudes up. It's crazy because there's no way of knowing, but I always love to think that the government has more to do with this stuff than not. And it's just, this whole shit is just getting out of hand. I mean, if they rule that you can't be fired because you're gay or transgender, these people are about to act up because they'll sue everybody. They sued me because I'm gay. I mean, they fired me because I'm gay. Do they realize the Pandora's box they could open up with this shit? Nope. They don't even realize, sister. They think that they got this shit. They fucked up. I love it. However, let me tell you this right here, though, because I'm getting ready to burn out in like 20, 30 minutes. Next year, you're going to see an increased hostility towards America that has probably never been seen since like the mid to late 1800s. Uh, it's about to get ugly. It's about to get ugly. It's about to get ugly. My situation is just one of those things where it's like, uh, technicalities will probably keep us in the unit than, more so than anything else. The lady was mad because I wouldn't sign my name on a lease with somebody else's name. Okay, why would I sign an old lease? I used to be in a freaking apartment manager. I never had somebody sign an old lease. Never did that. You know what I mean? You signed a new lease that had all the same stuff on it. I took you through the same information, blah, 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 blah. Just to run it down, just to compare it. Uh, they're coming with laws, right? They tried to, so they're mad. So, sister, when I was talking about the termination of my tenancy, they were the chick is mad because I wouldn't sign an old lease that has so Jeff did it. Apparently, I don't remember it being as early as June last year, but it must have been. Um, Jeff got the new lease done, right? Uh, what was crazy was they tried to get me to sign a lease with an old person's name on it. So the same chick who allowed the police to come in here, right? It was a lease that was older. Listen, even though I would have been putting my name on it for this year, supposedly, the fact that her name and Jeff's name from that year was on it, it just made me feel like if I went to court, a lawyer could argue that I was supposed to be on the lease at that time, right? And that me being put on it in 2019 is just them amending the lease. Can you dig it? I don't want any kind of language like that. I don't want anybody trying to pull that on me because I have to bring old girl to court. And if I have to make the legacy real estate group, right? If I have to make one of their affiliates come to court to defend the legacy apartments, do you see how it's going to go, sister? Like somebody in the end is going to look bad because if she says that they told me to do it, then it's on the legacy. Sister, they can. They just don't want to make a new lease because if they make a new lease with me on it, I already did everything I was supposed to do. They they gave us the the notice to comply and all that stuff, which was pretty much just me doing the background check and all that, verifying my income. I did all that. And then she wanted me to sign an old lease before they gave my bro a new one. But bro's already on the lease. Bro already has his name and initials on the lease. So why couldn't he just get another lease, sister? See what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff I go through. You know, it's not a movie. For me, it's real life. And and I just think it's funny because I'm always suffering these type of things that that people think that I could go through that. It's like, okay, well, that sounds good, but you have to go through, all the nonsense first. Trust me, I know. But uh I really do see something really negative coming with schooling. The student loan thing is gonna come to a head. Uh Between the college admission scandal and student loan debt, they're just gonna start attacking people who have outstanding debt who just haven't paid it. They're just gonna start throwing them in jail or just like I mean, like for example, I mean, they might put people on like GPS monitoring type stuff. You know what I mean? Like you have to stay at this job. You have to pay us this much money every month. We don't care if you have to downgrade, move somewhere else, or whatever. But you're going to keep this job and you're going to stay working until you get. And if you get fired on purpose, we'll throw your ass in jail. Type stuff. Like, like hey, there's no telling. So I think I don't know. Like people really kind of just overlook the situation and just don't really they give it no thought. I guess it doesn't matter. You know, um, I'm not childish. I know better. You know, I do know better. I do some things, I say some things that people might think are childish, but they really don't even understand the situations that I've had to endure and go through. Where it's like they might say that they would have done something else, but it's like I don't know. If they're even built to survive. I, well, I mean, not to the extent that it's going to happen. It hasn't happened before, sister. It's about to be crazy. About to be crazy. When people start getting those letters from the Department of Justice talking about you owe this much money, delinquent in student loans, contact this number, right, to set up a resolution plan or whatever. We'll see how people feel. We're gonna see, because it's easy to say some. They can say some wild shit up the side of their neck, but that's easy to say, sister. I can't stress that enough. I can say whatever I like to say. You know, I'm grown. I don't have to. Nobody has to. It's gonna destroy people, sister. But I mean, what can I do? I can't do nothing. I'm fighting the case. Fighting the case, right? So you see how this goes. Anyhow, next year is going to have a lot of people who think. I mean, so here's my here's my beef. If a person moves to South America, do they see the turmoil in Central America and South America that's going on right now? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Why would you move there? Do you see the turmoil that's going on over in Africa right now? Do you really want to be at a cafe when some guy decides to walk in and I'll bar that bitch all the way up into the sky? I don't. So it's like, why would you go there? Uh, I would just rather for the day to come here for whatever this country, all the karmic energy that America has garnered. I'd rather it just all come here. I'd rather they just get what they deserve because that's what they deserve. But gonna be a bad thing. I don't know. I got a lot of people who I know who owe money to school. You know, good friends of mine too. People I went to school with, and I just think it's weird because people go and party it up every weekend and don't really take care of the debt that they have accrued and aren't even willing to put forth the greater foot to have it, mitigated and to start to get it taken care of because it's easy to have something that gets out of hand that if you just really start to work at it, you know what I mean, before you know it, it'll be way less than what you thought. You'll be like, man, it's going way down. Everything is changing, or it's going way up. However, whatever direction it should move, it's omnidirectional, then it'll do that for you. But um, I just want y'all to see like they're building a wall and they're taking away people's ability to fly out of the country. You won't even be able to fly to another state, let alone another country, without a passport. Mm, think about that. That's going to stymie the businesses of the airports. People are like, "Oh, you can't be sure that you need a passport." I'm positive. I've looked it up. Look up the Real ID Act and look at what it takes to get your license enhanced or to get an enhanced license. There's no amount of money you can pay to do that. There's qualifications a person has to have. If a person would like one as a regular individual who's not military or working in some kind of sensitive information field, check it out. You need that passport. And if you're a felon, you can't get a passport. Right. So you're not going nowhere as a felon. Stuck like Chuck. It's funny. It really is. It's hilarious. Shrug my shoulders and keep laughing because it's actually kind of sad. Uh, it's sad, but it's funny. You should really laugh about it. You should really giggle about it. It really is giggle worthy. Uh, I'm speaking blessings on you, sister. I'm praying that everything goes for you the way it's supposed to go. I'm praying that everything for everybody goes the way it should go because there's only one thing that's ever going to happen, and that situation's only going to get worse. People may maintain and they may keep their heads up above water, but it's only going to get worse from here. And as long as everybody knows that going forward, all the little things that I've been speaking on, I mean, like, I can't really call it a positive because it's so far down the pipeline that when it probably has any kind of positive success, it'll be way too late. But they're doing clinical stuff right now in Nevada still. There has yet to be results as to the success of it. I know it's going to be partially successful. A lot of it just has to do with a person's mindset. But if they get the best they can get, then it'll be a high turnover. They're going to look into medical marijuana to sedate and a lot of these people who have become addicts of opiates, strong opiates. And they're going to get, I'm talking about high potency marijuana, stuff that puts these guys to sleep, right? Stuff that makes it to where they're like, they don't even want to do it because they know that they're going to go to sleep. They're going to go through the sweats and go through the withdrawals and go through all that stuff that they don't want to go through, right? And their body's going to eventually pan out. And then you tell a person, like, you don't have to smoke bud because you can just stop. They say it's habit forming, but really, people go hours and hours and hours, days and days and days, months and months and months without smoking, and they might smoke for who knows long all through. It just all depends on the situation and circumstance. It's not like your spinal cord is going to fall out if you don't have it, or even if it's. I don't know. I've never had like a marijuana withdrawal. I don't know what that's about. You know what I mean? I'll fiend for a drink before I fiend for some weed. But I know how to suppress not getting any alcohol too. So it's all a matter of just like how your mindset is working. But I got some alcohol right now, so today's not one of those days. You know, while I reach down and take a nice little sip for the team, for the team. That was for everybody who couldn't take one. For all the brothers in the grave and sisters down there below, like everybody locked up. Don't worry, I'll do that for them because I know what it's like. People try to kill you. People try to keep you locked up. Fuck 'em. Anyhow, sister, my point is this: nobody sees how bad it's about to get, and they don't want to see it. They should go see the construction of the wall down there in California. And if they don't believe that it's going down there in California, like I don't believe this ain't it. Then go to Arizona next. And if you don't believe it there, then go to New Mexico. And then if you don't believe it there, take a little trip down to Texas. And then when they finally get to see what's taking place right now, sister, it's about to be crazy. I just I get scared sometimes when I think about it. I do because I don't want to be the first guy to get killed, or not even like a guy to get killed for it. But I don't want to be the dude who gets killed who has an ERPO on him. You know what I mean? Like that's been the thing that's been bothering me the most since I've had the ERPO on. Is that like they're hoping, but that will be one of my legitimate grievances is that they caused the disproportionate amount of duress by me not being able to adequately protect myself based on the false pretenses that were used to gather and gain an ERPO in the first place. But that's all in good time. Gotta wait, but I don't want to be the guy who gets killed you know, with the Erpo on them. That's the last thing I need is to be that guy. So, and that's gonna happen. That is gonna happen in Red Flagistan. You know, the red flag and all these people. Oh my goodness, there have been so many different little stories from the guy driving the damn vehicle in the buildings in Chicago to the little girl talking about she wanted to kill 400 people. Oh my goodness, how many other little red Flagistan incidents have there been? There's been a few. Uh, but one of the issues is that going forward, somebody who does get red flag, who does get ERPO, is probably going to lose their life. And then how do you deal with that? Right. See, it's different from in my case because I'm vehement that I've done nothing wrong. So I would obviously, somebody would hear this video, I would want my family to seek a wrongful death suit against not only the fucking city, but the state and the King County and Pierce County, Seattle and Tacoma. Can you dig it? And the state of Washington, because I approached the attorney general of the state when my situation first took place. So once again, it wouldn't be like I didn't state my grievance. These are things that you have to do as a person. You have to be intelligent enough to know that if you leave enough breadcrumbs, somebody will see something and say, you know what? That doesn't look right. Or if you meant for it to look right, that does look right when everybody said it didn't. But in my situation, the case, it seems like they're right. You know what I mean? But they're they're looking to dismiss the case because they can see I'm not having it. You know what I mean? No, I'm not having it. But somebody's gonna get. But one of these guys with the ERPA on is gonna die. Or chick. I haven't seen it. I don't know. I haven't seen too many episodes of a chick getting an extremist protection order. Some old geezer, 91-year-old geezer, got a freaking ERPO placed on him this week. Uh, uh, Dementia suffering dude. They took like 18 guns out of his house in West Seattle. It even made CNN. I thought that was funny. Um, they put an ERPO on the guy. Now check this out. How can he as an old man protect himself? Tell me that. How? How? How's he gonna protect himself now? Huh? Right. People don't understand. They're like, he's 91, means he'll probably die of natural causes first. But what happens if he gets assaulted by some young punk that he would have ordinarily had one of his pistols that was confiscated from him to use to protect himself with? See, nobody understands. Right. He's cooked. Of course. If they dismiss it, that's just them dismissing it, sister. That's got nothing to do with what I do as a person. Okay. Now will the legal parties listening hear my grievance because the city dismissed it and be like, well, they dismissed it, son. I don't give a fuck if they dismissed it or not because the shit they put me through, right on, what I've had to go through and endure was all unnecessary. All of it. And it's all based on lies. People are like, I can't believe this guy. I'm like, I can't wait till I put together the little video where I'm reading to you guys what this dude says that happened. And I just play out like the little video to you guys again. Because I think I played the video one time. I'm like, nigga. I call them niggas a bunch of times because I don't give a fuck because I'm hot. You feel me? Because I'm like, do something, bro. You want over there, and they edited the video to where you can't even hear these guys talking. Nope, not dropping a damn thing. Will be sending my private investigator to gather all the information. You want to fucking accuse me of some shit that I didn't do? I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, hoping I just forget about the fact that you affected my ability to make income, totally devastated my financial means, really forced me on a 9-month exodus where I had to go from one place to another, searching for jobs, financial uncertainty for sure, the duress that brings. However, they're going to get somebody killed with this ERPO stuff. I pray it's somebody who's not supposed to get killed. So then that way they can be like, we have to really look at this law and really say, how do you justify if a person like this meets a violent end? How do you justify that? You see what I'm saying, sister? Once again, these things haven't happened. The trade war didn't bother nobody because guess what? It didn't take place just yet. Prices of goods hadn't gone up. Right. Hasn't happened, so nobody's worried about it. What are they going to do? What's going to be their excuse? Like I said, the most cynical, ridiculous thing they can say is that, well, this person was a threat to society, and as tragic as it is, they could have very well carried out an action like this themselves. So maybe this is just karma, but it's like, whoa, they hadn't even done nothing. Once again, sister, I'm going to argue the fact that if the red flag was really useful, why are people still getting killed? Tell me that. Riddle me that, sister. Huh? If these police officers are so good at profiling people, right? Why are people still getting killed in Seattle? Huh? Why aren't they able to look at these guys and be like, you know what? He needs an ERPO. She needs an ERPO. All over the fucking country. Why can't they? Once again, the red flag is going to blow up in their face. And I just can't wait till it happens to one of them who's like, cop kills guy with an ERPO. Can't wait. Can't wait. And the dude is unarmed, wasn't reaching, wasn't doing anything. Can't wait. I freaking can't wait till it happens. They're praying to God right now as YouTube is collecting this information, all this metadata, and they're transferring it to the powers that be. The powers that be are pulling out their freaking hair right now because they're like, he is so right. And I've never spoke on this. I've never spoke on what happens once again, this is going forward. See, I only spoke on Red Flagistan. That's one part of it. What about the other side of it? I brought it up briefly, but I haven't really like talked about like how do you anticipate that? How do you say, okay, well, you know what? Today in France, in Paris, there was a guy who went into a police station and killed 4 other officers. He stabbed them to death. Are you gonna, once again, I need you to hear what I'm saying. If a dude can do that with a knife, does he really need a gun? So are you gonna ERPO somebody to where they can't have guns and knives and all this stuff? It's like, how do you regulate something like that? It's ridiculous. But it's going to blow up in their face, and I pray it blows up sooner than later. Not for my good, but for their good. That's the truth. Because it will do me no good if I'm dead, laid out. It'll do them some good if they can realize, yo, before a real money grabber with dead grass hair and sky eyes, can you dig it? With a good lawyer continuing the fact that the person that they're trying to convince has either sky eyes or pig skin or gold hair, right? Burnt grass, what they call gold or blonde or whatever. Follow me. they're going to be totally upset. You get somebody killed with one of these ERPOs on them, whose family's got some real money or just a real legal clout. Oh my goodness. It'll change the whole landscape. As I'm speaking it, something like that would change everything. No, sister, they've thought about this. They don't want it to be they don't want this to happen. As I spoke it out to the universe, now it has to happen. Now I just pray it doesn't happen to me. Because I've spoken it. And they're sad. And it's not because, oh, I said it. It's because there's enough there now for it to happen. They're gonna red flag people. I told y'all what's gonna happen. They're gonna red flag people left and right. Out of those thousands, you don't think one of them could be a victim in the next 365 days? What? That's crazy. Think about that. They're hoping it doesn't even get. I'm telling y'all. They're hoping it doesn't even get there where people can contest it, because they're hoping to have the situation on lock before that. But if they don't have it on lock before that, they're willing to do whatever it takes. They're like, fuck it. Whatever it takes, dude, do that. Because what's a guy like Trump gonna really say? I mean, really think about that, sister. What is a guy like him really going to say? He talked about the video games because he understands how powerful programming is, and that these children will spend hours every day programming themselves, normally with violent games. So it's programming the children to enact violence. They don't even realize it. This is why they've had all these school shootings, because the violence in the games have gone unchecked. Do they want to blame GTA now? They should. They should. Video game, right on, is short for video game simulator. Can you dig it? It's meant to simulate what is real life. This is true. The game The Sims is called. The Sims is short for the simulator, because it's supposed to copy the authentic thing. The best it can, obviously. But follow me. Video game simulation is why these children, these young adults, are able to go out and commit these acts against one another and against people that they don't even know. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that not only is a child being shown graphic images, that it is in one turn as a frequency and a spectra, they are engaging themselves on a certain level of meta tangible abilities. So even though they didn't kill anybody for real, in the game they killed someone. And they become accustomed to it. So much and so where in real life, they understand that in one of those situations, even if it doesn't even warrant that level of action, they know I have to kill you. Steep. Steep. It is steep. And it is super wicked, sister. You're absolutely right. Going forward, it's gonna be one of those things. Short term, super short term. And I'm gonna get ready to end it out in the next 5 or 6 minutes. I'm gonna speak on this because I want to talk about this. Lion of Judah, Homecoming. Cannot wait to break it down to everybody. Can only speak on so much of it, coming from the Book of the Chronicles, Second Chronicles in particular, coming from the Book of Enoch, 80 something chapter. I don't know. Can't think of which one. Maybe the 84th or whatever, but it doesn't matter. It's one of those chapters. And we're going to break down. I'm literally going to read to you out the scripture, the vision, and then I'm going to read to you like what happens, and then I'm going to read to you the vision of Enoch, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to parallel certain parts. It's about to go down. Line of Judah homecoming is about to be filthy. It's going to explain like I really like 3 or 4 days because I have to take the last one, delete some stuff out of that video. Then I have to go back and actually put like 4 more of those So it looks easy, but to go 15 verses or however many 13 verses, however many verses that little spot was in Micah 5, to go a whole chapter, right, or a half a chapter, or it looks easy, but it's really not that easy to read all of that and make no mistakes, you know. Uh, so I've been trying to think of, and I don't want to because it's either way. Even if I copy paste it, I still have to read it, right? So I've been typing it, and I'm gonna have to type up 3 or 4 of them. Thinking half of a chapter out of the Book of Chronicles, a major part out of the Book of Enoch. Got to go back again to the Book of Genesis about Abraham one more time about him being Chaldean, um, and really just kind of just rock the boat. Uh, I mean, I don't know how many times I'm going to read to people that Abraham worshipped other gods. Before he was called out of that all that nonsense. I don't have time to read that to people before they recognize, yo, your progenitor was not, his hands weren't as clean as you think they are. He was just righteous in his heart. There's a total. I mean, you could argue that Abraham probably, did a lot of things that people aren't supposed to do. You know, for sure, this dude was married to his sister. So when you start to talk about things like why didn't the Most High God create not just the covenant but the laws with him, it's because Abraham wasn't in righteousness, and the reason why he couldn't do it with Isaac is because some of the actions that Jacob had committed, right, and the sons of Jacob would commit had not yet been committed. So therefore, they had to be the 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 full consecration of the bloodline had to actually be established. And by that I mean Abraham is one man, and the Israelites, the children of Israel, are a nation. And that's the difference is that even though they're not one of them, but a couple of them are considered righteous in this. People have to realize Moses is nothing without Abraham. Abraham is nothing without Noah. Noah is nothing without Adam. Adam is nothing without the Most High. So, people are like, well, what's the Most High? Always the Most High. That's just what it is. Unless you can explain that which is inexplicable. When though, sister, today is Thursday, going on Friday. I'm looking at the little window for it right now. It's just down in the little tab. I have to delete some stuff out, keep some stuff in, re-record some other stuff. Not re-record, but record some other things. Give it a few days. I wouldn't even give it a whole week though. I would say my next off day, which is Tuesday, I should have it ready. I'll put it in Tuesday, and then if it's not out Tuesday, it'll be out Wednesday in the morning before the afternoon. So give me a handful of days. I just need a handful of days to really make it the way that it needs to be, and then Go about it like that, and I'm hoping that I can just show people that that they've got it all wrong. You know, sis, they don't realize they got it all wrong going into next year. I was going to try to give people hope and try to tell them like, yo, you need to be looking for this job and that job and this job and that job and try to do this. No, no, no. I want them to be looking for all the bad stuff. The good stuff will be kind of obvious. The bad stuff won't. And even when the good stuff is not so obvious, as long as you stay away from the bad stuff, you normally stay away from bad things in general. Um, Black people haven't been told for long enough or enough to stay away from negative things, negative energy, negative influences. So we don't have anything. Not only am I proud, but I'm happy to be able to say to my people, don't do that. You don't have to do that. The Most High God wouldn't want you to do that. He wouldn't ask you to do that. That's my blessing. And I'm ever grateful for just being able to just say to you guys, hey, don't worry about it. You know, don't sweat the small stuff. Am I making any sense, sister? You know, just don't sweat it. It's okay. It's all good. It really is. A lot of people got a rude awakening, family. I'm praying for you every day. Praying that the Most High just keeps His hedge of protection over your whole household. Uh, just like I pray for Andre and Steven, just like I pray for my little dude Martin. I hear Martin's going through early life crisis. He's starting to think that some of the stuff that Paul said has some credibility to it. I guess this guy never listened to none of my videos where I said that Paul is easily one of the smartest guys in the entire scripture, villain or not. And yeah, that must have escaped little bro, but I'll have to call him and chastise him a little bit. Who knows what this guy's going? I don't know. You know what I mean? He dibbles and dabbles in so much information that it's hard to just tell. It's like, if bro just sat down and just used the scripture, more often, he would be in a better place. Most people wouldn't believe that I know a lot of what I know based on just reading the Bible and knowing. And I've researched so much stuff before I got back into the Bible like this. And I might look something up here and there, but it's like I know things. I just know them because I already researched. I mean, people have a hard time believing, but I have done a plethora of study. So certain things, yeah. I mean, once again, I might be off a couple years or person's name. I might even get the whole name wrong on somebody, but the event, like the happening, like the idea, I'm not gonna get it all. I just have a hard time getting it all wrong. Sometimes I mistake one thing for another because information gets jumbled up and things are very similar. But little bro, he's gonna realize you have to really just lean on the scripture. You can't lean on any kind of person's understanding. Paul is a man. Can you dig it? Paul didn't write the law. Paul tried to go against the law. He's not a good person. Just on that alone. You know. Um, I could argue that Paul's not even a real Jew, a real Israelite. Right on. And that he's one of these dirty ass imposters who the real Israelites were like, man, who are these guys again? You know what I mean? But you grow up getting taught that these guys are you, right? You get told that they're you, so you believe it, right? And there's other guys amongst you who are like, man, these motherfuckers aren't us. They don't even look like us. Word. But now you're crusty dusty, poor and broke, empire broken down, kingdom broken down, no palaces, nothing. Your women are turning tricks. Dudes are murderer, gambler, alcoholic, homosexual, wizard dudes. Just madness. Okay, right? I'm trying to get little bro to understand the picture. Like, dude, like it's deeper than what you think. What was going on when Paul was alive, but uh, I can't make nobody understand what I understand. I can't make nobody see what I've seen, or be willing to take it in the way that I've taken it. You know, my son's mother is an admixture person, making my son to some level admixture, man. That was an issue in the scripture. And it was an issue with people who looked just like the black people that they were doing this with because they had been tainted on the inside, not the out. Come on. Their phenotype wasn't affected, but their genotype was on another level, probably making them more susceptible to wickedness, other things like that. I can't know. Can't really, I can't really know, but I can argue that I can contest that the fact that the Israelites were in a land where they didn't kill everybody, tainted. That's right, sister. Because the Israelites came into a land where see, this is why everything that people say isn't wrong, but you just have to realize where you have to get off their boat. So when the so-called group of the Sea Peoples, you know what I mean, and they have another name, I just can't think of it right now. But in some depictions, they're white. Some depictions, they're black. It just depends on who's depicting them. But the Sea Peoples invade, and I think they were all of that stuff. They invaded the Mediterranean out of nowhere, right? And they took over all these different crucial places within the Mediterranean and further up. Now, people think that the Sea People came from an island, but they actually came from the middle of the planet. And a lot of them just were able to build boats. Sea People are real people. Look them up. They conquered. They didn't conquer, but they took over parts of Egypt, took over parts of over all of what's known as the modern day Middle East. They took over massive parts of Asia. They took over swaths of Europe. But once again, all the Sea People didn't. They weren't all white people. They were black, white. They were all these different looks. One of the people who were in the Promised Land, so-called Canaan, sister, the people didn't kill everybody. They were supposed to kill the entire population of all these people. Um, you notice that all these groups, every tribe ends up having these guys pay tribute to them, right? Right. Then they end up mating with their daughters, and their daughters mating with their sons. So now what's funny is that it told them that not only the sons, not only the daughters, but their sons would lead the daughters of the people astray. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? To worship their gods. Like it, the whole idea is that the Most High is like, don't become these people where there's no distinguishment between you and them. You're supposed to be holy. The reason why I did everything I did to Egypt is to get you here. Anyway, I'm on my last legs. You know, at least not. I mean, for right now, I just want to get this little stuff out of my chest because I know that there's a lot of bad things coming for people, and they don't realize that the student loan's going to mess them up. Real ID Act 2020 is going to mess them up. All these tariffs going to mess them up. Uh, what else going to mess them up? Um, Not just the tariff. What else is it, sister? There's another thing that's going to do the world up. Mm-mm-mm. It's the tariff, but it's the European and the Chinese. The trash. There we go. The trash. They have yet to address to people and to tell people. I've been seeing certain stuff around here talking about it, you know, about how to better collect the trash and this, that, and the other. Pretty soon they're going to be more aggressive about how they want people to put their trash up, and like how they want all this stuff collected. It's coming. I can't say I'm surprised. I'm just kind of like, damn, it's here this soon. You know what I mean? Like, even though I was like telling people this stuff, getting to the end of last year, like, yo, it's gonna be here, you know, in like a year's time, and here we are in about a year, and I'm like, yeah, we're on the horizon of all these things exploding in people's faces. It is what it is. I'm going to get ready to go wash my laundry, wash my work clothes, prep myself for tomorrow, read some Bible, eat some food, and enjoy myself. I would advise all of you to do something similar. Whatever you have to do, obviously, to prep yourself to get ready for your week, the rest of your week, and going forward. And if you already haven't given yourself nutrition and sustenance, I would do so. With that said, I salute you. No, 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 salute. I will. I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call. But take it easy.